This is
Positively
Hygiene with your host, Amber Lovatos,
Amy Parenti,
and Angela Doe.
Listen on as we dive into the positive of dental hygiene. All right, so this is the first time we've seen each other since RDH Under One Roof. The first time we've seen each other since the last time we recorded. I feel like it's been forever. Amy, this was your first RDH Under One Roof. Tell us how it was. We haven't talked about it. So tell us genuinely, did you like it? Did you hate it?
I loved it. It was so much fun. Before that, so I had gone to conferences before. I went to Connecticut has this tiny conference called the Nutmeg Conference. And it's essentially the entire conference can fit in the lobby of what we had RDH Under One Roof. It's teeny. It's tiny. You know how they say like Disneyland can fit in Magic Kingdom's parking lot of Orlando.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what they say. Like that, just like to put on spec. So that's what I had in Connecticut as our local conference. I had gone to that. I went to SmileCon last year, which is more a dental conference, and everyone kept telling me Under One Roof is going to be the best thing you ever experience as far as conferences go, and it lived up to the part. It was so positive and just encompassing, and the whole vibe. There was just so much good energy. I really enjoyed my entire weekend.
What was your favorite part?
I think the energy. As corny as that sounds, I think just being somewhere where there was zero judgment. Like I felt comfortable going up to anywhere. Like I can't speak about what was in the focus group that I attended, but I can at least tell you I sat among 10 strangers who were also hygienists. I didn't know anyone. And I honestly felt like I could strike up conversation casually and comfortably with anyone. And I'm an introvert. So to just have that vibe of everyone was there in a supportive environment, I think that was my favorite part.
What was your least favorite part?
The time. I feel like I needed more time. I don't think I had enough time for the exhibit floor to go around. Because there's also courses that are offered all day long. To bring it back to like Disney World, it's like, yeah, you want to go on Splash Mountain, but I also don't want to miss the parade. You know, it's kind of, I felt like there was conflicting times where I really wanted to go. Auntie, you did a course I signed up for. I wanted to go so bad, and then I got stolen away. And
me.
I had, was that what it was at the time?
Yes, we had to record the podcast.
It was just,
but there was no other time.
Exactly.
There
wasn't.
I mean, time was so crunched. So I will agree that's my least favorite part. I feel like, well, for me, I think I'm partly to blame. Like I took on some work while at Under One Roof, right? We did the takeover. Angela spoke. We did some podcasting. And so when you're working a conference, it's not as enjoyable, you know?
It's a different experience.
It is.
You have things you have to get done as well as you want to be there as an attendee.
Right.
Yeah. So Amber, can you share, for those who haven't heard of RDH Under One Roof, can you share like what it's about?
So RDH Under One Roof is owned by RDH Magazine. I'm sure a lot of you have subscribed to their free magazine. If you haven't, you can. They also send like email blasts. But it's a conference for just general hygienists. There is ADHA, the American Dental Hygiene Association conference. And that conference is, I feel like, mostly geared towards members of the ADHA, educators. I would say I saw a lot more students at ADHA than I did at RDH Under One Roof.
Yes, that's true.
But RDH Under One Roof seems, at least this year, seemed a little bit of an older crowd. But it is a conference that is geared towards hygienists, like the day-to-day hygienists. There is no like hierarchy of hygienists. It's like we're all equal. It's a big conference.
It was sold out this year.
It was sold out.
Yeah,
How many people?
Way in advance.
I don't know.
In April, it was sold out.
Yeah, I think close to
already.
2,000 people.
Probably.
Yeah. But if you have ever been to like ADHA's vendor hall is probably like half the size of RDH Under One Roof's vendor hall. RDH Under One Roof is a party too.
It is a party nonstop.
Tons of giveaways. You get tons of free stuff. So it is a for-profit dental hygiene conference versus the American Dental Hygiene Association is a non-profit conference. I would say the ADHA, if you're trying to be an aspiring speaker, the ADHA would be a good conference for you to attend and speak at because you would meet or more likely to meet a lot of the state hygiene leaders who could bring you in to then speak to their state conference. So I think for speaker wise, I think there's more to gain from ADHA. If you're trying to find sponsors, I think more to gain from RDH Under One Roof.
I think at ADHA, there's more opportunity to be a speaker. I spoke the first time last year at ADHA, and I had 2 that got accepted because they have more slots available, I think, or more speakers during one time slot, which as RDH Under One Roof, it's more difficult, challenging to get in as a speaker. I was able to speak this year because I'm a part of the American Academy of Dental Hygiene, that organization. And every year they have like a slot already reserved. And so they call out to their members to submit different topics they're looking for, and then from there they choose. So I was very honored to be chosen this year. That's how I got to speak at RDH Under One Roof. But right now, abstracts are open if you want to speak next year.
I do think it's easier to get in to speak at ADHA. My first national conference to speak at was ADHA, and I had 1 speaking gig under my belt when I applied.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I think they are more open to like newer speakers. They do pay significantly less. You're probably going to have to actually spend money to get there, but you could have maybe some return of investment on that. RDH Under One Roof pays really well to speak. I think they pay like $1,500-$1,600 plus your flight, and then 2 nights your hotel and your registration for free.
Oh, wow.
Which is,
It's a nice package.
It's a package. It's nice. ADHA, you're not going to get anywhere near that. Like nowhere near that. I think you get maybe $700 total. So for your speaking, for your flight, for your hotel. So you're going to like, it is an investment, I would say. I would say don't be discouraged. Even if it's your first time applying to speak, I would still apply to speak at RDH Under One Roof. My friend Andreina, she's the Patho RDH on Instagram, super smart. I mentored her last year and helped her write her abstracts and objectives, and she got in and she was accepted to speak at RDH this year. So like, you don't have to be a like big time speaker, but they are harder in recruiting of their speakers.
So their abstracts for 2024 is due on August 25th.
I think RDH is a great conference. I want to know, how much free stuff did you get, Amy?
I didn't get too much. Did you see my story? I know, because I was so busy. And then which I enjoyed, but then I think the first day that it opened, and that's the one thing I don't like, it didn't open until the late afternoon or evening of the first day, right?
That, and oh my gosh, I mean, we know. I imagine we had some experience, although we didn't talk about it. The swarm of people who came to the booth, it was overwhelming. We were doing our takeover at that time.
Yes.
And I was like, whoa, like almost impossible to like shoot content and talk to people, and because it was so many people. So then you're like having to invite people for less, not for the stuff, but kind of for the attention. I don't like the way they do it. I don't like how they have the vendor hall is, you have to go to the classes or whatever. I think that's why they do it during that time. You know,
yeah, I think
they want you to go to the
schedule
classes,
it
and
like
so
that.
they schedule the vendor hall to be at those weird times. But some trade secrets. So if you're going to go to RDH Under One Roof and you're going to sign up for Heart to Hands, you always get something for free at Heart to Hands. You, if you sign up early, you get a free item. If you sign up early, like an early bird.
Yes.
The Crest Mega Session always gives something.
They gave out 10 IOs.
Yeah.
In a package, too, or a tote bag with everything.
Then everybody got a package. Yeah. It was full of stuff.
Yeah, and there's some things like you just wouldn't know, right? Like you wouldn't, and the like Hearts to Hands gets sold out. So some of those things that have like a limit on people that you can attend. Oh, but this year, the last party of Friday night, that one had some items. They had whitening kits. And they didn't announce that. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah. They had whitening kits, and they had like a
bottle opener.
It's like a bottle opener thing. I thought that was
we went to a lunch.
Nice
we all went to a luncheon, and they gave us Yetis, which was nice.
I love that Yeti.
My mom took my Yeti.
No.
Well, I mean, she was like, "Oh, mija, this is so nice," and I'm like, "Oh my, you want it?" You know.
I put all my like freebies in a bag, and then my sisters came over, and I was like, "You guys can pick what you want," you know. And then my sister's like, "It's like I went to a dental conference," and I'm like, "Well, sort of did through me."
But I will say you get more stuff from RDH than you do ADHA.
Yeah, I think there's more also new products or products you haven't heard of or tried that are at Under One Roof as well. And I think if it is your first time, definitely reach out to one of us or someone that's been before? I know Amy, because it was your first time, you're like, we're sort of telling you like, okay,
Yes.
make sure you sign up for this, make sure
And
you
I
sign
was
up for that.
overwhelmed.
Because
Yeah, when I first saw the list, and because a lot of them, and you girls that have, gone before, you were saying, sign up for the mega session. And I'm like, oh, nothing says mega session. Like, what do they mean?
Oh, you're right.
But it depends on what, if you're looking at the course schedule or versus this, like the things are labeled a little differently. So I wanted to make sure I was where I was going to get my most value.
Yeah.
And with the time that I could manage. And it was a little tricky. And one thing too, I think I'll watch out for next year is you'll get emails when new lunch and learns are added or when, and it's not just when you sign up, that's all it's ever going to be. You have to keep your eye out for different, I know I wanted to take an Orange Theory class. It was sold out, but then they ended up adding 2 more.
There's also one for like instruments. There was like, they sent an email out. They're like, oh, come by our, like schedule a time to come by our booth so you can get your free instruments. So yeah, there are things that you have to like watch out for when you get there.
And limited time or limited quantities. Because I know when we had the lunch and learn, I think it was you would get an electric toothbrush for free too, one of the top of the line. And you had sent it to me and I was like, oh, I don't know. And then when I was midway through my day, I checked my emails at work and I saw it and I was like, oh man, because they only took 10 people or something. I was like, oh, so it was already sold out. So I put myself on the wait list, but I never got in.
Oh man. Yeah. So
it's okay.
They're definitely like things like that you just don't know.
Right.
Yeah, they hold focus groups there for like new products or maybe they're trying to improve a product. I did one last year and they released it this year. So that was like just sort of
that was what I did this year.
With that journey.
That was cool.
Yeah.
And that you got a gift card for your time.
Yeah.
You got $100 gift card.
I did one when RDH Under One Roof was in Texas. I got, I think, $100 gift card.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what it was. I don't know what it was even
nice.
about. Well, I guess we can't even talk about it because they make you sign NDAs. But yeah, so it was nice. I would say lots of parties. That's the other thing too.
What would you say about the vibe between ADHA conference or Under One Roof? Is it a different vibe or is it similar?
It's a different vibe. I think ADHA is slower paced, at least this year. And I say that as an attendee because in the previous years, I have attended ADHA. They used to have the House of Delegates at ADHA, and I used to be a delegate. So you would be a delegate, plus you'd have the conference, overwhelming. And so this year, I attended solely as an attendee, not working ADHA. I will say what I like about RDH is that everything's on site versus ADHA. There's things off site, but okay. ADHA does a good job of allowing you to see the city that you're in.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So like one of the parties we went to was at the pier, at the Chicago Pier. The club one was at like a popular club in Chicago.
Oh, it wasn't even a club in a hotel? I just assumed it was in the conference hotel. Oh.
They have shuttles, which is nice. I do like that you get to see the city. Because we didn't see a single bit of Nashville, maybe for like a minute.
Yeah,
like
we had to make time to go.
You had to.
Yeah, because ADHA is purely at a conference center, while RDH Under One Roof, it's always at one of the Gaylord hotels, which I recommend staying at the hotel for the Gaylord, just so that it's easy access to go to the convention center.
So pros and cons, right? Like pro of being at the Gaylord and having everything at one conference is like, if you need to go back to your hotel room, you can go back to your hotel room. It's a semi-quick walk.
Especially when you're attending classes during the day and then at night there's a reception party.
Right.
Then you don't really want to wear your business casual. Maybe you want to put on a nice dress or something. Then
or all the things
all
you're
the
carrying,
freebies,
all your freebies.
So
you can bring it back to the room.
They're usually at a convention center and there is a walk back to your hotel, usually not that far, but like still there is a walk. And so that's a con, but then you get to see the city. You get to see some sunlight.
Oh, nice.
So they're just different. I felt like this year ADHA was a slower pace. And so I kind of enjoyed ADHA more this year than I enjoyed RDH Under One Roof. And that is...
really?
Yeah.
Do you think it was the puppies?
Oh my gosh. They had puppies. They also had the ice cream is yes, it was like nitrogen
like
ice
frozen.
cream.
Oh,
it was
they have that here in Houston.
It was
like sorbet.
Boozy ice cream.
Yeah.
I had like 5 of them.
Boozy
Oh,
sorbet.
fancy.
Because they were so good. And so I was in the vendor hall and I was crying.
We're like standing by the booth because we knew we were going to finish this in 2 more bites. So that
that's so cool.
Yeah, it was. So it was like nice having those like, and they had like food on the vendor hall, which was nice.
And Amber, you said too that there was an older crowd at RDH Under One Roof, and I know when we were walking too, I think part of that is because people do enjoy it enough to come back repeatedly year after year. So a lot of the people I know that like I met, they were like, oh, we've been coming since 2012, whatever the date was. It's been like a solid 10 years that they've made it a point to always come back with friends.
Yeah.
So I feel like
one of the things, like insider things, is the pins. Did you get your pin?
Yeah, that pin's awesome.
Yeah,
it's
so
really good.
people collect, there's like an RDH Under One Roof pin for every year. And so the year they came to Texas, it was like a pink Texas.
Oh, cute.
Yeah. So they do things like that to like encourage people to come back. People do like word of the year, and
I think Kev Talks Teeth showed me Orlando's from last year. And I was like, he's like, oh, this one's so much better. And I was like, I agree. I like this one because it's got like the guitar, like it pulls in pieces from the state, right? It's really cool. I like it.
Yeah, they have cute things like that. They have like swag that's not like ADHA branded swag, but like Nashville RDH Under One Roof
the
swag.
Plinko, right? Is that the Plinko shirt, the T-shirt?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I tried so hard. I couldn't. I got a magnet.
I didn't even get around to play it. Okay.
No.
So yeah, I think the reason I didn't enjoy RDH as much this year was because I worked. The first, I mean, so blessed, right? So blessed. Very blessed to have opportunities, to have experiences. But the first night we got there, right? And we podcasted during the day. Then it was vendor hall time. I was there for 30 minutes. We were working a booth. And then I had to leave to go to a reception for the awarded distinction. So as a winner of the awarded distinction from the previous year, then you're still responsible to do some of the awarded distinction things for the following year for some of the award winners. And so I got Brush with Brett. Well, I picked Brush with Brett, so I'm super happy. I love her.
You picked
I picked to present. Yeah, I didn't pick her as an award winner. I picked when you win the award distinction, you get a purple ring and you get inducted into the Purple Ring Society. And so you get to like do those things. So, but part of that is also like, the first night there's the reception for the AOD winners. And they invite the past year's winners. So that was the first night I had to go to that. Then the second night after our party thing, we had to go to the bling. They had like, there was always like the reception for the Purple Ring Society. And this year was like bling was the theme or something. And I got to present a ring to Britt. And I will say I had the best speech.
You did. I mean, I didn't hear the others. Yours was good.
I think so. Well, I don't know if I will say like the best, but I definitely had the most prepared speech. I did put in a lot of thought into it. Yeah. Into what I would say, because I would want somebody to put in that kind of thought into mine. Right. So there was part of that. There was at least a couple of those things that I had to do for being an AOD winner from the previous year, plus a takeover, and the takeover again
on
the next
the go.
day.
One time, you turned around, you were gone. I found you, Angela, and I was like, "Is Amber okay? What happened? Where'd she go?" And she's like, "Oh no, she just had another commitment." I was like, "Oh, okay, as long as she's okay." I thought something happened because you had to go. You just had to leave so abruptly that I didn't even get a chance to say goodbye.
And so that's kind of the hard thing about RDH for me this year was like, oh my gosh, there was so much work. It was fun.
Well, I'd say, Amy, you hit it on the nail earlier when you said people go back year after year because they get to see their friends. We get to see friends that we've made.
We met people we had never met.
On the internet.
Yeah, like Hadir.
Oh, yeah.
She was super cool.
Yeah.
Hadir was super cool. Her arms,
So down to
my
earth.
God.
She's probably so sick of hearing that. I think anytime I walked with her, people kept coming up to her. They're like, "Wow, your biceps." She's just like,
I mean, she is
really know what to say.
for sure.
Yeah,
fit little
fit,
hygienist, right?
That's how she met her husband too at the gym. Yeah, I think that's cute.
And we got to interview her. Her podcast was released. It did really well. People really liked hearing about her experience. But yeah, we got to meet some cool people.
Or see friends again that you don't see all year. It's a great way to connect.
And even some people I pieced together afterwards, and then I was kicking myself in the butt like who I can't remember names. I saw people there and I talked with people and then they've shown up in my feed since then and now I'm connecting the dots. I'm like, wait, I met this person. Like that's so cool. And then,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, people, especially people that are just starting their pages. I'm like, they came up and said their name was Amanda, but I wish they said this is my handle. So I could
Okay, that's how I remember people
connect it.
now. I'm like,
Yes.
oh, by
Yeah,
their
the handle,
handle.
yeah.
Yes, not by what their real name is. But okay, so love ADHA, loved RDH Under One Roof. I think both very different.
But there are other conferences dental hygienists can attend as well. I know this year I went with you for the first time to Midwinter.
Oh yeah, Chicago Midwinter
Conference in Chicago, and the one in
Yankee.
Boston.
Oh, Yankee's big from
Yeah. That's
a big
Connecticut.
one.
I know that's like
Yeah.
the one that everyone in Connecticut goes to.
Both they're very similar and different, but same size. I would say the pro to going to a dental hygiene conference is that the vendors are dedicated to hygienists, and so when you go up to a vendor, they know you're a hygienist. Versus when you go to something like Midwinter or like SmileCon or Yankee, they may not always be geared towards hygienists. And so there's always that feeling of like, oh, is this booth for me? Or would they be interested? Because they ask, like, oh, they're like, oh, are you a dentist, hygienist, you know?
Well, I think at Midwinter they even had
And color-coded.
lanyards that color coded and
Oh.
said hygienist, dentist.
Oh, so Midwinter is not just for hygienists. That's a more general,
No, it's
like
It's
dentistry.
dentist. Yeah, Chicago Midwinter. I like them both, though. I think maybe I like Chicago Midwinter a little bit better
Then Yankee.
than Yankee.
Oh.
I think Yankee's a little smaller. Yeah, I like them both. Cool, but both have cool cities.
I know that was how I felt at SmileCon. Like that was my first big conference. So I was so excited to be there and just to be around like all dental people. But then I would go through the exhibit hall and I'd be like, oh, cool. Oh, it's composite. All right. Like I don't really.
Yeah.
And I could keep walking and then I'd see like oroscopic and I'd be like, oh, this is cool, But then it would be 3 more booths of dental insurance or something. And I'm just like, all right, like I don't need to talk
Software.
to anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm like, all right. Like, so it was a little different.
Well, I think I like Chicago Midwinter better, but you have to be in the know. Chicago Midwinter tends to have a lot of these parties, and you have to be invited to these parties.
Oh,
But
okay.
Connect the Dents always does like a party at a speakeasy.
That was a great party.
So like you go down like this alley into like this door into like a basement, and then it's like a tiki bar. You get invited to like trivia night, or there's like these different parties that you could get invited to.
How's the Greater New York conference? 'Cause I know you've been to that one, but that one's always around Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Greater New York
so
is hard. Similar vibes to like Chicago. I like New York City though, like as a city. I like
Do
it.
you?
Yeah, I do. I enjoy Greater New York mostly because I enjoy the city. But so again, it's nice to have some of those conferences where you can actually see some of the city.
Well, and then so now flip side. So I don't like city. I get really bad anxiety in cities, like skyscrapers and feeling confined. I get a little bit nervous. So on the flip side, I'm excited for next year. Under One Roof is in Denver. I told Ricky, I was like, we are renting a car. I was like, I already looked out at the Rocky Mountain National Park. I was like, it's about like an hour and a half from the venue. I was like, we're going to stay an extra 2 days. We're going to go explore the park. I am so excited to just get out into mountains for a couple days.
Yeah. I think that's why some people are attracted to RDH Under One Roof because of the cities they're in. So they extend
Yeah.
this there to be able to do stuff in the city and then do.
And that was something cool too, because I know I've had people asking me, is it okay if a spouse comes? And I do think there is even a portion where you can pay a little bit extra that they can attend certain
As a guest.
parties. Yeah, as a guest. But of course they could just stay in the hotel room. And the Gaylord hotels are also nice that they don't
are
need to
nice.
leave the resort. And it's always in July.
Yeah.
There's always a beautiful pool. They could just go hang out at the pool all day. Yeah, I know Natalie and Ricky, when they went with me to Nashville, there was a water park on site at the Gaylord, and Natalie was like surfing every day on that little Rave Runner thing. And they were having like the time of their life eating gelato. Like I was getting pictures the whole time.
I would say as a normal attendee though, taking back to like the dental conferences like Midwinter, Yankee, Greater New York, I wouldn't necessarily attend as a dental hygienist if I wasn't trying to like grow a business. You know, I go to those mostly because I'm trying to like reconnect with brands. And I think that was one of the things that was good about this year was I was able to do that. Like, sure, maybe I went to Chicago in winter and I didn't speak, I didn't work a booth, I didn't like actually make any money out of it, but I was able to like reconnect with brands and then get brand deals later on through that. So I think there was investment in that, and that's kind of nice. They feel slower paced to me because I typically don't attend like the CE courses and stuff. But if you're a dental hygienist, I would recommend going to RDH Under One Roof for sure. If you have to pick, I'd pick one of the dental hygiene conferences over the dental conferences.
Specifically just for the courses too, because I know even SmileCon, the ADA conference, there was a lot of CEs that were geared towards the front end or geared towards just cosmetic dentistry or geared, it was all over. It was, it wasn't just preventative care or systemic connection. It wasn't just for the patients. It was a lot of like how to run your business as well as a dental practice.
Yeah.
I know I had someone reach out. So this is how I broke down. So I want to hear just from y'all's input too to see if I was on target. So someone reached out and they said, and I think this is a fair question, especially if someone right now is making the decision they want to go next year. You have little less than a year to prepare financially. If we're looking grand scheme of things, I think the number I came out with just was over 2,000, maybe about 2,300. So I was saying, if you want to stay out of the Gaylord, that's going to be your pricier. This is not sharing the hotel room. If you got it for, I was there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So 4 nights, I paid about $1,200. And I didn't share, well, I shared it with Ricky and Allie, but of course we share an account.
We shared it with 4 people.
Okay, so that of course helps the cut. So at the very most cost-wise, because at $1,200 that was at the discounted rate,
plus $400 for registration,
and then about $400. Yeah, I think early bird again. If you do now, you can save, or there's opportunities to save. But if we round up to $400, so it's $1,600. Not sharing a hotel room, paying by yourself. You can look up the flight now to know what it's going to be for your area,
plus food. So that's 1,000-ish.
Yeah. So I guess like plan on $2,500 to be safe, but it'll probably come in a little bit less and significantly less if you can share a room.
Yeah, for sure, share a room. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily recommend working your first one, but like Angela is in RCC. You're in RCC,
yes.
So you got registration for free.
Yeah,
I'm on the advisory board for RDH Mag. And so I got my registration for free. So that was nice. Angela spoke, so we got 2 nights for free because of Angela. Last year, being an award winner and speaking, we got all the nights paid for, I think, is how it worked out. Or maybe we had to pay for like 1 night.
I didn't share with you last year.
But I think I got all the nights for free last year. So there are like workarounds. Maybe you can talk to a company and be like, hey, I'll work your booth for like half a day or something if you pay for my flight and hotel, or I don't know. There's just always ways that you could work around. For conferences like Chicago Midwinter, if you're like media, as we are media for podcasting, you can submit and you don't have to pay. Like they just have to approve you as like a media person to attend.
Okay.
I've gotten in on like being a vendor hall person. Like if you're connected with somebody who has like a
exhibitor
pass, so I don't have to pay. But then you lose out on something like for Midwinter and Yankee and stuff. I don't think it matters. But for like ADHA, I was like, oh, well, can I attend some of these things? Because I'm not, but I actually ended up paying to attend ADHA this year. I paid for like a day pass to attend. Oh, and I think vendor hall pass. Yeah. So like, but I know somebody who did something else. So her friend paid to attend, and then they added her as a guest, even though she was a hygienist. And then she only paid like $100 for like the weekend. And I was like, dang, aren't you smart or something? I was like, I don't think that's what the attention is for.
Yeah.
But
I'd get nervous because they scan your badge.
So nervous.
Can you imagine like all of a sudden it just glows red? They beep you in and it's like,
okay.
Boop, boop.
Yeah.
If you could get your dream swag, what would you be like? Oh, they're handing out.
I mean, I like actual dental products.
You can't say ice cream.
Right. Like, I can't say ice cream. Damn. You're right. That would be number 1. Well, I like to actually get their products, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't have like a product that you sell that is like tangible, like in hand, then things like pins are really cool. People are going around collecting the pins, like PINS, not PENS, pins. I mean, I love, honestly, give me an electric toothbrush, give me a water flosser. That's like big swag, right? But actual like dental products that I can try when I come back to the office and be like, okay, this is something that otherwise I wouldn't have had access to try. Like maybe I've heard of this product, but I've never used it. And now you're giving me a sample so I can try it out for myself and get an opinion on it.
Or if they give sample sizes, so then you can give it to your patient to try too. That's nice.
Yeah, I came home and I had to divide my swag into, okay, this stuff I'm going to bring to the office for my patients. This stuff I'm just going to keep at home. Like it was like there was a desensitizing agent. That same. I've heard of it before, but I've never used it or thought to ask to order it because I don't know if it's going to work. But now I have a free sample that next time I have a patient that's like, oh, it's really bad.
Yeah. I mean, there was some cool things. Like somebody made like a highlighter that was in the shape of a syringe. And so I was like,
oh yeah,
okay,
that was cool.
That's cool.
My husband was like, what is that? You brought home a syringe?
It's
and
a highlighter.
Like, no.
But okay, so if you're just going to give me a normal highlighter with your name on it, I don't care. But a syringe with, I'm like, oh, okay, that's, something.
Creative.
Yeah, like
It's
be
fun.
creative. I don't just want a pin. Although I did have a brand give me a pin that was like super nice. I was like, oh, okay. This is not just a pin that I'm going to throw in the trash. It's like, I want to keep this pin because it's nice.
Some of the tote bags too, you can make a staple with what kind of tote
Oh
bag
my gosh,
you choose
tote
to
bags.
do.
Some people have some like really nice tote bags. I'm down for some nice tote bags.
What is something positive about going to a dental conference or dental hygiene conference?
Sure. I think maybe just the opportunity to reconnect with your career, whether that be from the CE courses, from meeting other professionals, from just soaking in the environment. I mean, men come year after year to attend it. That says a lot. It's just everything about, to me, what I experienced was positive.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that it does definitely reignite your like spark for the profession. One of my first conferences to attend was Texas Dental Hygiene Association. So if you're in Texas, you should come out. It's a smaller conference, but it's a good time. And so for me, I think it's seeing all my friends. Like, even if it's for a little bit, it's just so nice to see virtual friends and real life friends. And
Both of you took ATAC. So I am on the same boat as
Find
both
them
of
the
you.
free
That
stuff.
it's just that. Oh, the free stuff. Yes. I mean, we don't want to admit it, but we don't need it either. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. We hope to see you next year in Denver at Under One Roof or at ADHA.
thank you for listening to Positively Hygiene.
Join us every Tuesday for a new episode.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram for the opportunity for how you can contribute to our podcast.
And follow and review Positively Hygiene on Apple and Spotify podcast.